Hey everyone, this is Rabbitearsblog and welcome to another top 10 videos. So today's top 10 video I'll be talking about today is my top 10 creepiest Sesame Street segments. And before I get into this, here are a few words from the channel. Hey guys, if you want to check out more content from this channel, then tune in every Sunday and Monday for new videos. And if you happen to see any videos posted up during the week, that means that there was a bit of movie and TV news that I wanted to talk about, so those will be considered special videos. And if you want to chat with me on social media or see when new videos are being released, then follow me through Twitter and Facebook. And also, please feel free to join the new Facebook group, Rabbitearsblog Reviews 2.0, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and video games with other fans of the genres. And now, we return to our regularly scheduled program. So I actually did this video way back in 2014, and well, let's just say that I found that video to be a little bit subpar. Check it out for yourself. I'm gonna be on my top 10 creepiest Sesame Street segments. Sesame Street. So, why am I doing a video like this? So you may have noticed that I stutter a bit in this video, and even though it's not as bad as some other videos I did around that time, I still wanted to do another video of this and give it a more polished look this time around. So I decided to go back and revisit this topic after many years, and I wanted to talk about some of my creepiest segments from the Sesame Street series. Now you're probably wondering to yourself, Sesame Street? What's so creepy about that show? I mean, isn't that a kids show? And isn't that the show that teaches kids about numbers and letters and stuff like that? Well, what if I were to tell you that the earlier seasons of Sesame Street had a lot of creepy segments, and so I wanted to talk about those segments in this video. So before we get into this, here are a few warnings for this video. Number 1, there will be some disturbing imagery in this video, so if you don't like disturbing imagery, you might want to watch this video with caution. Number 2, there will be some massive spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen any of the segments yet, you might want to watch those segments first before watching this video. Number 3, this video is based on my personal opinions, so there might be some segments in this video that you guys might not agree with, or there might be some segments that's not on this list that you guys think should have been on this list. And number 4, this is only part 1 of a series that I'm starting up with Sesame Street. Because Sesame Street is a show that's been around for decades, there's a lot more creepy segments in this series than the top 10 I have in this video, so I will be doing a part 2 next year. But for now, this is just part 1. So let's get started. So, Sound of B is a segment where Kermit is teaching the viewers how to pronounce the letter B. And later on, the Beautiful Day Monster pops up and he wants to help out Kermit with helping out the viewers pronounce the letter B. And so, when Kermit starts going B, the Beautiful Day Monster starts pronouncing the letter B, but he ends up screaming out B towards Kermit and ends up blowing Kermit away from the screen. And then towards the end of the segment, the Beautiful Day Monster gets back up to the screen and starts yelling out, B! And then you have the screen suddenly go white. So the reason why this segment was on the bottom of my list was because I found this segment to be a lot more amusing than outright scary. Like, I really like the moments between the Beautiful Day Monster and Kermit the Frog, as we see the Beautiful Day Monster telling Kermit, okay, I get it. And that got a lot of chuckles out of me. But the reason why this segment ended up on the list anyway was because of the ending. Like, for one thing, you have the Beautiful Day Monster roaring at Kermit towards the end of the segment, which would scare a lot of little kids. I know when I was little, I used to get scared whenever characters start roaring at each other. So this segment was a little creepy to me. But the moment that really clinched this segment was the scene towards the end when the Beautiful Day Monster yells out B and the screen suddenly goes white. And the reason why that scene was very creepy to me was because you have no idea why the screen went white when the Beautiful Day Monster yelled out the letter B. I mean, I was like, why did it do that? Why did the screen suddenly go white? So I can imagine a lot of little kids were terrified of this scene because they have no idea what just happened. So there was this segment where they have this giant mutant rabbit chasing these kids, and the kids would spend most of the segment just running away from the giant rabbit until towards the end they hide behind a tree and the giant mutant rabbit passes them by and the kids end up running in the other direction to get away from the rabbit. And that's basically what the segment is all about. The reason why this segment was creepy was because you have a giant mutant rabbit chasing these kids for no reason at all. I mean, I can imagine a lot of little kids were scared of this segment because they're like, why is that big rabbit chasing these kids? And why does the rabbit look the way it does? Like, you have the rabbit's head have brown fur and have this creepy looking eye, and then the rest of his body is white or grayish. And I'm like, why does the rabbit look that way? Why does it look so scary? So that's why this segment was on this list. So the Carmen singing orange segment just basically features a stop motion orange singing Carmen towards the audience, and it ends up getting all these facial expressions by having flowers for eyelashes and other things that would make a face. And then there was this one part in the segment where his face just blows off and his face just becomes blank for a minute, and then it gets all his facial expressions back in a few minutes. And that's basically what this segment is all about. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with stop motion animation in general. Like, sometimes they can be really creative with how they present the characters, and other times they can be downright creepy. I think the segment was on the creepy side of stop motion animation, as you have a stop motion animated orange singing Carmen, but the way the orange looked was really creepy, and the part where its facial expressions just fly off his face was really creepy itself. So that's why this segment is on the list for me. So this next segment, Frog and Dog A-B Patterns, is basically teaching kids about patterns and figure out what item is missing from the pattern. That's basically this segment. Now you're probably wondering to yourself, why is this segment scary? Or why is this kind of high up on your list? Well, the reason why this segment was kind of creepy to me was because of this scene where they reveal a missing pattern, and all of a sudden this terrifying sound comes up out of nowhere when the pattern is missing. Hear it for yourself. Ribbit. I usually don't do well with jump scares in general, and this is an example of a jump scare that's done very well. Like, the jump scare comes in the form of the music suddenly going high pitched and done in a horrifying way that really made me jump out of my seat. So that's why this particular segment is kind of high on my list, because of the jump scare with the music. So Grover's Health Minute is basically Grover teaching kids about taking care of your teeth, and he introduces Kermit the Frog into the segment. And during the segment, Grover ends up taking Kermit and giving him some teeth, and then we get to see Kermit the Frog with teeth, and it just looks so unsettling. And then towards the end of the segment, Kermit suddenly starts snapping his teeth towards Grover, and they both run off the screen as Kermit's chasing Grover with his new teeth. So after seeing this segment, you could probably imagine why this segment was so creepy. Seeing a Muppet character with teeth, especially Kermit the Frog, was really creepy. The way they made Kermit look with having teeth was just so creepy and disturbing that I was thinking to myself, why would you do this for little kids? Why would you show little kids a Muppet character having teeth? There's a reason why these Muppet characters don't have teeth. They just look unsettling and creepy. So this segment, Annie and Arthur Look for an A, is basically Annie and Arthur trying to look for a word that starts with the letter A, and then you have the narrator telling the audience what words start with the letter A, and towards the end of the segment, the narrator suddenly slumps over for some reason, and it seems like he died on screen. So aside from the unsettling animation of this segment, you have the ending where the narrator suddenly falls over dead, and you wonder to yourself, why did the narrator fall over dead like that? And when you think about all the words that start with the letter A that was mentioned in the segment, there's one word that starts with the letter A that they didn't mention, and that's aneurysm. So maybe the narrator had suffered an aneurysm towards the end of the segment, and that's why the narrator fell over like he did. And that's what made this segment so creepy to me, is that you have the narrator kind of falling over dead, and you have no idea if the narrator is alive or not, or why he fell over like that. It's just so unsettling, and the animation for this segment just makes it even more creepy. So count to 10 when nobody has this weird looking face that's made out of rubber bands suddenly show up on the screen, and it teaches viewers how to count to 10, and it's against this dark and blue background while all this loud sound effects start popping up within the segment. Now this is one of the creepiest shorts I have ever seen, because for one thing, you have this disembodied rubber band face floating against a black and blue background that looks really creepy, and then you have the loud sound effects that pop up whenever they start counting up from 1 to 10. And it just looks so creepy the way you have this disembodied face just floating in the middle of nowhere. And I found this segment to be really creepy because of this. Like, I wondered to myself, why would you have a disembodied face floating in the dark background like that? Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of kids were terrified of this segment because of that. So Daddy Dear was basically an animated segment where the narrator is just singing out a song called Daddy Dear, and they're talking about all these nursery rhymes going on and some bizarre figures throughout the short. Like, that's pretty much what this segment is all about. Just seeing lots of bizarre imagery and talking about items and people that start with the letter D. Now, the reason why this segment is so high on my list is just how disturbing and surreal it is. Like, I didn't get anything that was going on in this particular segment. Like, I do like the surreal atmosphere of this segment. Like, you have a lot of creatures that look bizarre, like the roaring dandelion and the dragon that's mentioned in this segment. But then you got a lot of disturbing moments that happen in the segment. One of the most infamous disturbing moments in the segment was the roaring dandelion. Because the way the dandelion looks, as it has a menacing lion face, just looked really scary to me. And it just came out of nowhere in this segment. But then you have the dragon scene too, which was also pretty creepy. But it was the roaring dandelion that did it for me because of how out of nowhere it came out. And just how mean and ferocious the lion's face looked like on the dandelion flower. So the crack segment basically has this little girl seeing a crack in her wall, and she decides to go inside her wall and see all the cracks in there, and she meets up with a crack monkey as one of her companions. And along the way she meets up with this terrifying being called the Crack Master, who tries to be mean towards the little girl, but he ends up falling apart due to this meanness. And the segment just basically ends with the little girl getting out of the crack world and saying that she might go back there again. So this segment was notorious for being one of the most banned segments from the Sesame Street series, and for a good reason. For one thing, you have the Crack Master, who is probably the most terrifying thing you've ever seen in the Sesame Street series. And the way that his face suddenly starts contorting with terror throughout this short was really terrifying to look at, especially when it starts falling apart. And I guess this segment was trying to say, you know, it's not nice to be mean towards people, but the way the segment portrayed that more was terrifying, especially with the Crack Master's face falling apart and his face just contorting in such a way that makes it look so terrifying. I can see why the segment was banned a lot in Sesame Street and why a lot of kids would prefer this segment didn't exist in a way. So the bird segment is just basically this bird eating up the letter B, and then it suddenly screams out bird towards the end of the segment, and that's the segment. The reason why the bird segment was the most terrifying segment to me was because of the deranged animation shown with the bird. Like, the bird just looks like this unnatural being with these crazy eyes, and the way its body is drawn is like it's done in a loopy way that just makes it look so unsettling. But probably the worst part of the segment was when the bird yells out bird, and you see his mouth kind of go up wide, and it just made him look so disturbing and creepy. And while this segment may seem to have a catchy beat to it, the tone was just so unsettling overall, and that's why this segment was the most disturbing segment to me for Sesame Street. So those are my top 10 creepy segments for Sesame Street, and I was actually really excited to get back into this video again. Like, I always enjoy trying to seek out creepy segments from kids shows and figure out why they're exactly creepy. I'm so glad that I stumbled upon the Nightmare Fuel page for Sesame Street on TV Tropes, so if you want to check out these segments, or you want to check out more segments from the Sesame Street series that are creepy, then check out the Sesame Street Nightmare Fuel page, and you find a wide variety of segments that are considered creepy by the general audience there. And once again, this is only part 1, so stay tuned for part 2 for next year. Well, that's it for this video, and tell me in the comments down below, what were some of your creepiest segments from Sesame Street? And what were some creepy segments from Sesame Street that I didn't mention in this video that you want to mention? Please feel free to comment down below. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Rabbitearsblog, and I'll see you guys later. Hey guys, like this video? Then please feel free to hit that like button. And also, hit that subscribe button for more content about video games, movies, and TV shows from this channel. And now, let's roll the credits, please.